All praises and glory goes to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. All praises and glory goes to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Dumb honors to the men of GMS who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Boaz on the set once again. Now we discuss on this on multiple occasions. A dreadful sound is in his ears, okay? What you talking about? Thermonuclear destruction, okay? That's what this is coming down to, okay? They didn't make these missiles to be put in museums, like the beloved Gabar said, okay? They made these nuclear missiles to be used. And it's a very tactic on Yahweh Shai's day, okay? This is why they're going to be used. So if you want to be saved out of this times, if you it's trying to save you and your loved ones, you gotta turn back to the Lord Yahweh Yahushai, okay? While the doors of mercy are still open. We don't got much more time. Time is short, okay? Our time is ticking. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 15, verse 20. This is from the KJV. A wicked man travels with pain in the midst of his days, and a number of the year are hidden from the oppressor. A dreadful sound is in his ears, and the prosperity's destroyer shall come upon him. What's that dreadful sound? What we discussed already, okay? Now the elect, if you're doing your videos, you're doing everything you could do to make your call of election sure, you do well, okay? But if you're not doing what you should be doing, and you know you should be doing your videos, a dreadful sound is in his ears, okay? And you see this, it's coming down to this, and when this thing comes to pass, you won't make it out with your life, okay? When this thing comes to pass, you know you need Yahweh Shai to make it out with your life when this thing comes to pass. That's what this is about, okay? Yahweh Shai is your down payment. He's your ticket, one-way ticket out here, out of the hell here in North America, okay? And like we discussed on multiple occasions, what happens, okay? When you hear a loud boom, okay, ears start bleeding, okay? Urinate on yourself, why don't you, okay? Instant panic sets in, like we discussed on multiple occasions, okay? You're gonna wish in that day you had Yahweh Shai, you put this truth first. You're gonna wish in that day, okay? When this thing comes to pass. Turn to the book of Matthews. You're gonna wish in that day you kept Yahweh Shai first, okay? The book of Matthew 6, verse 33. But seek first the kingdom of power and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Okay? The book of Matthew 6, verse 22. The light of the body is the eye. If thou's eye be single, thou's whole body shall be full of light, okay? So you have to keep your eyes single on Yahweh Shai, okay? There's nothing more important. If you said, I didn't know nothing about this, okay? If you sit up and said, I don't know nothing about this, does the one that guards your life consider it? One moment. One moment. Ears start bleeding in that day, okay? Instant panic sets in, okay? You're gonna wish that you had the doctrine of Yahweh Shai, okay? You're gonna wish. The book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 10, in the NET version. You have slacked off in a day of trouble, your strength is small. Verse 11, deliver those taken away to death and holding back those that slip into the slaughter. But if you say, but I knew nothing about this, okay? If you knew about the market of beasts, okay? If you knew about martial law, if you knew about the law, statutes, and commandments, okay? If you knew about these things, but you acted like you trying to play a game with Yahweh Shai, and you knew about these things, okay? That's what this is about. You want to know what this is about? That's what this is about. Does not the one that know it, okay? Does not the one that know it, doesn't he search your life, okay? Verse 11, deliver those taken away to death and hold back those slipping to the slaughter. If you say, but I knew nothing about this, okay? You knew it, you knew about this thing, okay? And you knew about martial law, okay? You knew about the MOTB, okay? You know that's the MOTBs and microchip, okay? If you playing games, okay, on this thing, okay? Doesn't the one Yahweh, doesn't he know it? If you say, but I knew nothing about this, will not the one evaluate your heart discern it? Will not the one that guards your life realize and repay each man according to his deeds? That's what this is about. Turn to the Wisdom of Solomon. The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, verse 16. For the ungodly that denieth to know the scourges were strength of their arm, with strange range, nuclear destruction, and hails and showers, and persecutions that could not be avoided, though thou's fire was they consumed, okay, through fire, okay, thermonuclear destructions, okay, and the laser beams coming from the chariot, okay. That's what this is about, okay. That's what this is all about, okay. If you sitting up there playing games with Yahweh Shai saying I didn't know nothing about this, what's this about? Turn to the book of Luke. Now, to the elect that's doing their videos and doing their street studies, this message ain't for them, okay? But if you playing games in Yahweh Shai, you're gonna be destroyed in that day, okay? Open rebuke is better than secret love. What's this about? Turn to the book of Luke. The book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 47. And the servant that which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to the will shall be beaten with many stripes. But he that kneweth not but he did, let's read it from the top. But he that knew not and committed things worthy of strife shall be beaten with a few stripes, for unto whom much is given, and he shall be much required. And to men shall commit much of him, they shall ask the more. Okay, so that's what this is about already. Okay, if you if you doing a twist, if you up there not doing what Yahweh Shai commanded, this is about the book of Isaiah chapter 13 verse 9. Look, the day of Yahweh, hold on one moment. Look, the day of Yahweh is coming. It is a day of cruelty and savage rage of anger, destroying the earth and annihilating its sinners, okay? Annihilating its sinners already. The Lord Yahweh Shai is going to destroy many, okay, on that day, okay? It's like it's like you got crumbs on the table and you take a rag and you just wipe the crumbs off the table, okay? That's going to be how Yahweh Shai is going to mop this earth up, okay? It's going to, the slain of Yahweh is going to be many in that day, okay? Isaiah chapter 24, verse 1. Look, the day of Yahweh is, look, Yahweh is ready to devastate the earth and to leave it in ruins. He will smite the inhabitants and scatter the inhabitants. Everyone will suffer, the priest as well as the people, the master as well as the servant, the elegant lady as well as a female attendant, the seller as well as a buyer, the borrower as well as a lender, the creditor as well as a debtor. The earth will be completely devastated and thoroughly ramshacked. For Yahweh has decreed this judgment. The earth rises up with withers, the world shrivels up and withers. The prominent people of the earth fades away. The earth is defiled by its inhabitants, for they have violated the laws and discarded the regulations and broken the permanent so a treaty, broken the permanent treaty, okay? That's what this is about, okay? So if you want to make it out with your life, okay, if you desire so you and your loved ones, okay, you got to turn back to Yahweh Yahweh Shai while you still can, while the doors of mercy are still open unto you, okay? That's what you have to do, okay? Seek Yahweh Yahweh Shai, okay? We don't got much time. Turn to the book of Kings. The book of Kings, the book of Kings, chapter 13, verse 34. This sin caused Jeroboam's dynasty to come to an end and to be destroyed off the face of the earth, okay? So when this thing comes to pass, okay, you don't want to be destroyed off the face of the earth, okay? And that sin, what he did was idol worship, okay? Idol worship is the worst thing you could do, okay? It's next to murder. Idol worship, okay? It's the worst thing you could do, okay? That you could think of. The book of The book of the book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the inventions of them are the corruption of life. Verse 25. So that there So this is a book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 25. So that there was reigns in all men without exception of blood, manslaughter, thefts, and dissimulations, corruption, and unfaithful, turmoil, and perjury, disquiet of men, forgers of good turns, defiling the souls, changing of kinds, disorders of marriage, adulteries, and shameful uncleanness. For the worship of idols not to be named is the beginning in all causes and the evil of and the end of all evil. So it's the end of all evil, okay? Idol worship, okay? And Judah, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they're heavy in idol worship, okay? They're heavy into it, okay? So what's that? So what does that mean? Okay, what's that mean? What does that mean for Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans? The book of Jeremiah. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 8, verse 14. One moment. Why are we just sitting here? Let us gather together outside the fortified cities. Let us at least die there fighting, since Yahweh, the power, has condemned us to die, okay? That's what this is about, okay? Since Yahweh has forced us to die, okay? That's for so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. On this trip out of here, it's only gonna be us, the 1/3 that's gonna make it out with their life, okay? Because Yahweh don't want to save, he don't want to save the majority of them, okay? He wants them to be destroyed, okay? That's what this is about. He don't want them to be saved. Okay, one moment. Come back to the KJV. Turn to the book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 5. Open rebuke is better than secret love, okay? Because they can't take the rebuke, okay? This is just a tough love, okay? If Yahweh Shai didn't do the foolishness of preaching, okay, we will be destroyed, okay. This is just a little tough love. That's all it is. Turn to the book of Kings. The book of Kings, chapter 22. We'll start at verse 7, KJV. And Jehoshaphat said, is there not a prophet of Yahweh besides that we have inquired of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Igram, in whom we may inquire of Yahweh, but I hate him, for he does not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king, let not the king say so, okay? But he said, I hate him, okay? You don't like the prophets, okay? You hate the prophets, okay? But this is only tough love, okay? So you can clean up your ways in front of Yahweh Shai before that day comes to pass on you, before the day of Yahweh Shai comes upon you. Seek Yahweh while you still can, okay? Before that day of Yahweh Shai comes upon you. Verse 9. Then the king of Israel called his officers and said, hasten hither Micaiah the son of Egram. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat in each other his throne, having put on their robes and in a void place and an inheritance at the gate of Samaria. And all the kings prophesied before them. And Zedekiah, the son of Ikram, made this horn of the horn of iron and said, thus said Yahweh, at all these that have pushed the Syrians until they have consumed them. And the prophets prophesy, say, go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for Yahweh has delivered it into the king's hand. And the messengers that was gone to call Micaiah spake to him, saying, behold, now the words of the prophets declares good unto the king with one mouth. Let those words, I pray thee, be like the words of one of them, and speak which is good. And Micaiah says, as I live, as Yahweh lives, what Yahweh said unto me, for that I will speak. So that's what the men of GMS, that's what they do, okay? What Yahweh shall speak, that's what they basically speak, okay? What Yahweh Shai says, that's what they speak, okay? That's what this is about. What Yahweh Shai says, that's what they speak, okay? Turn to the NET version or to Isaiah, the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah, chapter 21, verse 10. O my downtrodden people, crushed like the stalks on the threshing floor, what I have heard from Yahweh of heavenly armies, the power of Israel, I have reported unto you. Okay, so we don't care if you don't like it or not. Okay, we don't care if it's gonna be offensive or not. Okay, what the words of Yahweh shall speak, we gonna speak it unto you. Okay, so the blood's off our hands. Okay, so when this thing comes to pass, and you hear these nuclear weapons go off, boom. Okay, you gonna know terrors on you. Okay, all terrors, all hands faint limp in that day. Okay, fall faces turn pale in that day. Okay, that's what this is about. Okay, so our hands is clean out of it. Okay, shake off the dust of our feet. Okay, but to the elect, peace and safety to the elect. Okay, of the Yahweh, to the Israel of Yahweh. Okay, that's what this is about. Okay, Yahweh Shai only wants one grape, one vine. The book of Isaiah, the book of First Kings, chapter 22, verse 15. So he came unto the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, where shall we go against Mother Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered, Go up and prosper, for Yahweh have delivered it into thy hands unto the king. And the king said unto thee, How many times shall I adjure thee that thou shalt tell me nothing but what is true from in the name of Yahweh? And he said, I saw Israel upon the. And he said, I saw Israel scattered upon the hills like sheep that has not a shepherd. And Yahweh said, These have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, Did not I tell thee that he will not prophesy no good concerning me, but only evil? And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on a throne, and with all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right and on his left hand. Okay, so who's going to persuade them to take the mark of the beast? Okay, I'll be a government mandate. Okay, that's what this is about. Who's going to persuade him to take the mark of the beast? Okay, I'll be a job. Okay, or I'll be his family member. Okay, that's what goes on in heaven. Okay, who's going to persuade him? I'll make the mark of the beast a mandate. Okay, I cause I'll cause them all to take I'll be a government mandate. I'll put pressure on him. His wife and kids can't eat. The book of Revelations, chapter 13, verse 16. And he also calls everyone small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to obtain a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. Thus no one was able to allowed to buy or sell anything unless they bore the mark of the beast, that is the name of the number of the number or his number. This calls for wisdom. Let everyone who has insight calculate the beast's number, for it is man's number. and his number is 666. Okay, so that's what this is about. That's what this is all about. Okay, so when they come out with it, I'll persuade them. Okay, I'll be a government man. Come over here. The book of Second Peter chapter 2 verse 9. If so, then Yahweh knows how to rescue the godly from their trials and to reserve the unrighteousness for punishment at the day of judgment, especially those who indulge in fleshly desire and those who despise authority. Okay, so Yahweh knows how to reserve the righteous and the wicked for the day of judgment. Okay, Yahweh Shai knows how to save his elect. Okay, it all breaks down to if you have the elect or not. Okay, that's what it all breaks down to. And if you want your midnight ticket, because this train is full capacity. And so if you're not doing your videos, if you're not doing your studies, if you're not doing your research, not on this midnight train of Georgia, you won't make it out. Not on this one, okay? You won't make it out with your life on this one, okay? You have to wait for the second train to come in, okay? That's 1,000 years. You have to be reincarnated, okay? That's what this is about, okay? You won't make it out on this first train in Georgia. I want to make it out on this midnight train in Georgia, okay? I want to make it out with my life, okay? That's why we do these videos, okay? That's why we do these studies. The book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 13. And when you heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, when you believed in Mashiach, you were marked with the seal of the Holy Spirit, who is the down payment, okay? Your one-way ticket out of here, okay? Of making it out with your life, okay? It's very clear, okay? And that down payment is Yahweh Shai, okay? He's your one-way ticket out of here, out this midnight train in Georgia, out of here, okay? And it's 400% capacity, okay? That's what this is about. And you were marked with the seal of promise of the Holy Spirit. Now let's turn them over here. The book of Second Kings, chapter 22, First Kings 22, NET version. Let's get it in the NET version. The book of First Kings, chapter 22, verse 18. Then the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, did not I tell you that he does not prophesy nothing, prophesy for me, but disaster? That's prophets, okay? That's our job, okay? We prophesy doom for America, okay? America's going to get destroyed already, okay? America's already a little bit of a kingdom left, okay? It's nothing of a kingdom. It's not, it won't come back to its former glory. America's over with already, okay? Seek Yahweh Shai while you still can. The wicked need to forsake their way, okay? And turn back to Yahweh, he will greatly pardon. America's destroyed already. Don't have faith in America. It's over. Micaiah said, verse 19, Micaiah said, that being the case, listen to what Yahweh's message. I saw Yahweh sitting on a throne, and he said unto the heavenly assembly, standing beside him on his right and the left. That's demons up there too with Yahweh Shai. Satan and demons are up there with Yahweh Shai. And he says, who's gonna persuade them to take the mark of the beast? Okay, that's what this is about. Who's gonna persuade them? God be a government mandate, okay? Like I do it how I did the pandemic, okay? But I put greater pressure on them, okay? So yeah, take it, okay? That's what this is about. So he won't make it out with his life, okay? That's the demons and Satan telling Yahweh Shai that, okay? Telling Yahweh that. And Yahweh Shai says, let's see what Yahweh Shai says. And I saw Yahweh sitting on the throne and the heavenly assembly standing at his right, beside him on his right and on his left. And Yahweh Shai said, who shall decree Ahab, and he shall attack Gilead and die there, okay? So who's going to persuade them to take the mark of the beast and die and get boils on them? And he said, and this said, one standard and another before Yahweh. And he said, I will deceive him. And Yahweh asked him, how? And he replied, I will be a lion spirit in the mouths of his prophets. And Yahweh said, deceive him and overpower him, and go out and do what you have proposed. So now look, Yahweh have placed a lion spirit in the mouth of all these prophets of yours. But Yahweh has decreed this disaster for you, okay? So what's the lion spirit? GOCC. What's the lion spirit? ISUBK. What's the lion spirit? ISIC, okay? And all these false Israelite camps, okay? What's the lion spirit? Christian church, okay? That's the lion spirit, okay, that he have proposed, okay? So if you following him, if you're not following that doctrine of GMS, you're going to be destroyed, okay, when this thing comes to pass, okay? Seek Yahweh Shai while you still can. You only got 40 more days until Nineveh's overthrown. You don't got much more time, okay? You only got 40 more days until Nineveh's overthrown, okay? Until America's totally destroyed, okay? Time is ticking, okay? It's over for America. So, okay, so seek Yahweh Shai while you still can. The doors of mercy are steadily closing. Turn to the book of Acts. The book of Acts, chapter 28, verse 22. But we would like to hear from what you think about regarding this sect. For we know that people everywhere are speaking against it, okay? Why everybody's speaking against GMS, okay? Why? Because he's saying the so-called white man's going to get eradicated, okay? But isn't it true? Let's see what the Bible got to say. They're not doing a twist with the so-called white man. They saying the so-called white man's going to get eradicated in that day. What they saying? The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 21. Let's read. Let's read it slow. Rejoice and be glad, for now, O people of Edom, who reside in the land of Uz. But the cup of judgment shall pass also unto you. You will get drunk and take off your clothes, okay? That's what this is about. Edom will get drunk and take off his clothes, okay? And the so-called white man birth rate's low, okay? He can't replace his birth rate, okay? Diseases and cancer overtaking him. Homeless rate is overtaking him already, okay? That's what this is about. Verse 22, O people of Zion, your punishment will come to an end. He will not prolong your exile, but people of Edom, he will punish you for your sin and reveal your offenses, okay? That's why they say that that's one of the reasons of many of reason why GMS is a hated group, okay? They saying no more doing a twist with the so-called white man. Let them be eradicated already, okay? Destroy the so-called white man already. What's this about, okay? They do all these horrific alligator bait, okay? They do all these smashing black babies' heads in, okay, when they're born, okay? You think Yahweh forgot about that? No, okay? But Negroes want to forget about their suffering, okay, their poverty. Yahweh haven't forgot. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, verse 15. Exists now has already been, and whatever has been has already. Let's read it from the top. Whatever exists now has already been, and whatever has been has already been. For power will seek to do what again according to the past. Okay, so Yahweh Shah requires the past. Okay, that's what this is about. Yahweh Shah requires a pass, okay? He haven't forgot. And GMS saying, okay, they're gonna get eradicated. And what they saying about the women, okay? They hate GMS because concerning the women, but what they saying about the women, okay? Let's find out. What are they saying about the women? The book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1. 7 women shall grab hold to one man at that time and say, we will provide our own food and we will provide our own clothes, but let us belong to you. Take away our shame. Verse 2. At that time, the crops given by Yahweh will bring forth admiration and honor. The product of the land will be a source of pride and delight to those who remain in Israel. Okay. Verse 3. Those remaining in Zion looks like I got so much highlights in here. One moment. Those left in Zion, those left in Jerusalem will be called holy. All in Jerusalem who are destined to live, okay? That's what they saying, okay? GMS got it. Like we discussed on multiple occasions, GMS got it, okay? And if you want your midnight ticket out of here, okay, when this thing comes to pass, you you will follow that doctrine, okay? Let's get it. The book of John. The book of John, chapter 7, verse 16. So Yahushua replied, my teaching is not from me, but from the one who sent me. If any man wants to do the will of him, he will know about my teaching, whether it is from power or whether I speak of my own authority, okay? You got to follow those teachings of GMS, okay? They got it. They cracked the riddle already, okay? They got it. Just a couple more scriptures. And what they saying, okay, about the so-called white already. Well, let's get it. The book of Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 12. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 12. Salakia. For Yahweh says, if those who did not deserve to drink from the cup of my wrath must drink from it, do you think you will go unpunished? You will not go unpunished, but must certainly drink from the cup of my wrath. Okay, so the so-called white man, you think that we being Israelites had to go against the most horrific slavery ever in existence. So you think that you're gonna go all together unpunished? You're not gonna go unpunished, okay? You're gonna have to drink of that cup. The book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore, Yahweh has made good his word which he pronounced against us and against our judges and against Israel and against the kings and against our princes and against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon them great plagues such as never has happened underneath the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things which were written in the law of Moses, okay, the curses, okay. So if we had to drink of that cup of hardcore slavery, what do you think you're going to have to drink against, okay? What do you think is going to happen to you, okay? Can't you see you're destined to be eradicated already, okay? That's what this is about. The book of Lamentations. The book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 64. Pay them back for what they deserve, O Yahweh, according to what they have done. Give them a jackson heart. May your curses be on them. Pursue them in anger and eradicate them from underneath Yahweh's heavens, okay? Eradicate them already, okay? That's what this is about. We're not going to keep doing the twist with the so-called white man. We rule him and whip him with the whip, and he takes us down, and he rules us, and he whip him with the whip, and he this back and forth dichotomy to and fro. No, okay, on this turn, on this one, what GMS saying, they're gonna get destroyed. First a nuclear strike hits it down for his society, okay? Then the ones that are left rounded up and put in shackles and chains. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. One moment. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 11. Kept watching because of the arrogant words on the whole horn that was asking. I kept watching until the beast was killed and his body destroyed, and was thrown into a flame of fire. Okay, that's what this is about. Come over here to the book of Jeremiah. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 9, verse 25. And Yahweh says, watch out, the time is soon coming when I will punish all those who are circumcised only in the flesh. That is, I will punish Egypt, the Egyptians, the Judeans, the Edomites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, and all the desert people who are cut their hair short with the temples. I will do so because none of the people of those nations are really circumcised. And Yahweh speak over, and the people of Israel are circumcised when it comes to their hearts. Okay, so let's turn again. So go back to the book of Kings, chapter 22, verse 23. So now look, Yahweh has placed a lying spirit in the mouth of these prophets of yours, but Yahweh has decreed disaster for you. Okay, so yeah, so what we are preaching, okay, GMS primarily is disaster for this place. Okay, it's destruction for this man. Okay, and you Israelites that think that you're gonna keep doing twists with the so-called white man. Okay, is the white man coming to heaven with us? Is a white man coming to heaven with us? Okay, no, he's not coming to heaven with us. Okay, he's gonna get eradicated already. Okay, after 1,000 years, he's gonna get eradicated. That's what this is about. Okay, can't you see that? Okay, can't you see Yahweh Shai's will? Okay, if you stand in the inner circle of Yahweh Shai. The book of Kings, chapter 22, verse 27. Say is what is the kings said, put this man in prison and give him a little bread and a little water until I safely return. And Micaiah said, if you really do safely return, then Yahweh has not spoken through me, but he has added, take note, all you people, okay? All you people, what's coming? MOTB, okay? What's coming? Martial law, okay? What's coming, okay? Yahweh Shai, okay? We're heralding our Lord and Savior, okay? He's on his way, okay? The book of Isaiah. Thermonuclear weapons are going to destroy this man, okay? The book of Isaiah, chapter 35, verse 4. And I'll leave you with this. Tell those who panic, be strong, do not fear. Look, your power comes with to avenge with divine retribution. He comes to deliver you, okay? Let me get you a couple more scriptures before I close out. The book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 2. This is reading from the NET version. Yahweh is zealous. Yahweh avenges. And avenges Yahweh. Yahweh is avenges and very angry. Yahweh takes vengeance against his foes and sustains rage against his enemies. Okay? So when this white man messed up, okay, by putting his hands on us, okay, this white man messed up already, okay, that you see that, okay, the so-called white man messed up already by putting his hands on us, okay, this man's going to get eradicated, okay, when this thing comes to pass, okay. Can't you see the so-called white man's destiny is slavery, okay? He can't shake the curses, okay? The cancer rate high in this community, okay? Like I said, low birth rate, okay? That's why they want to make abortion illegal, okay? Okay, come over here. turn to the book of Job. The book of Job, we'll start at verse 23, chapter 20, verse 23. There shall his 23. When he is about to fill his belly, power will cast furies of his wrath upon him. He shall rain upon him while he is yet eating. Okay, so they're going to get this new order off the ground. Okay, but while they're eating, okay, Yahweh Shai is going to drop nuclear weapons on them. He shall flee from an iron weapon, and bow still shall strike him through. And his dawn, and if he is drawn and comes out of his body, yea, a glittering sword comes out of his gall. Terrors are upon him, okay? Terrors are upon the so-called white man already, okay? And don't think the Israelites, Yahweh Shai's got one more lick. They depend on you Israelites. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 46, verse 27. Be not therefore, fear not, thou, O servant Jacob, be not dismayed, for behold, I save thee from afar, and thy seed away from their captivity. And Jacob shall return and rest and at ease, and none shall make him afraid. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, said Yahweh, for I am with thee to make a full end of the nations, whether I driven thee, but I will not make a full end of thee, but correct thee and measure. Yet will I not leave thee wholly unpunished. So Yahweh still got to get his last lick in, so to speak. Okay, he's not going to leave us wholly unpunished. Okay, that's why we have a 2/3 and a 1/3. The 2/3 are slated for destruction. Okay, they're not going to come back to Yahweh Shai. Okay, over here. The book of Zechariah, chapter. I'll leave you with this. The book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 8. And it will come to pass that in that day, the land, Yahweh, say Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the 3rd part will be left therein. And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire and refine them as silver is refined, and try them as gold is tried. They shall call upon my name, and I shall hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power. Hopefully you was edified. All praises and glory goes to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.